So our next presenter is Andrzej Kowalczyk on the topic Secure Your Kubernetes Cluster. Please welcome our next speaker.
Hello, Bog. It's a pleasure to be again in Zagreb on this conference. So today I will tell you how to secure Kubernetes. It's more technical session than the one before. So I'm from Red Hat. I'm a solution architect. You see by my email that I'm long in Red Hat because I'm using just first name as a domain. So that's all about me. I will tell you today about Kubernetes, not just only Openshift. I will tell you how to secure it, what kind of tools you can use, or what kind of features this product, or what kind of problems this product can resolve. We did in Red Hat some kind of survey or market analysis, and we see regarding the strategies, what is the most popular strategy for the cloud, right? So some customers are using on-prem installation, so private, some are using the private cloud, but we see that the most popular approach is to have a hybrid cloud. Even yesterday, we had a meeting in Ljubljana with one customer, and customer said, for us, cloud is the first choice, but we are the bank. Also, we need to follow some regulations. And after the cloud first, they have another rule, exit, right? How to exit from the cloud. So hybrid cloud approach helps them and to achieve this. So they can burst the cloud, they can utilize, but also they need to be prepared to exit cloud. So you always need to think about this approach, right? You know, after 2 years, we have learned that all impossible things may happen, right? So, and this is important to also follow this exit cloud rule, or to be prepared for that. What kind of security concerns people have regarding the cloud? Sometimes in the Kubernetes, right? It doesn't adequately invest in container security. You can find on the Docker Hub many container images, many applications that do not follow the security rules. For example, many of them are using root as a user. So this is not very good. I know that people are following be quick, be dirty, right? But this is not the right way. You can do it on your home computer, but if you are thinking about the enterprise environment, if you are thinking about enterprise approach, you cannot do this. We will not allow you on our platform to use that. Also, it is not detailed enough. Some customers are using many different tools to have a better security. One tool is for logging, second tool is for image scanning, and another tool is for network. So this is also problematic. How to follow changes, how to follow the new capabilities. But what is the common problem? Not CVEs, right? Not CVEs, misconfiguration. This is the common problem. We see almost 60% our Czech people, they confirm misconfiguration. So typically, human mistakes. Kubernetes, it's very popular in DevSecOps teams, and the main rule, or they should introduce, or the company should follow, it's automation, right? CI/CD, everything as a code, etc. So you will be, if you will follow this rule, you will see less misconfigurations. We are just humans, but still, we can use the right tool to avoid this problem. So not CVEs, like you see, not vulnerability. Problem is on the third place, 30%, 31%, right? It's a problematic, but sometimes there is a misunderstanding between this. Because people know that CVEs may be discovered, but how to react it. If you will rate what is the the biggest problem, you will find runtime threat detection. Why it's so important? Because containers and Kubernetes bring a different approach for bug fixing. There is no bug fixing, right? There is no bug fixing. This is the rule. This is the rule. And sometimes my colleagues from the security team tell me anecdotes. Big enterprise customers are fixing running containers, logging to the containers and fixing them. But they are not aware if they will stop container, it will pull the container image and then they will start from scratch or from the previous current version, right? So there is no bug fixing in a containers. You cannot fix it because containers are immutable. Because people have an imagination. If you hear word container, when you close your eyes, you see ship, train with containers full of products. But these products are applications, so this is important. An application is inside container and you cannot fix it. So how to fix it? You need to, if you are a developer, if it's your container, your application, you can regenerate it. So that's the problem. And you can, of course, fire pipeline, start the trigger, right, to recreate container. If you are not an owner, if you are not a programmer, and you find the vulnerabilities in your database, in your application server, how to react? You should go to the vendor webpage and download it, the latest edition, where CVEs are fixed. We are releasing every single year some kind of report. This is from the last year. We are expecting the latest, I think in May, or maybe it's already released. We are showing in this report how many vulnerabilities were detected in our products. So you see, if you compare 2020, because a report was released in 2021, right? So the whole year, it's summarized here. Number of critical vulnerabilities, CV, decreased, but number of moderate increased dramatically. So this is important, and you cannot patch your container. You need to remember about this. You need to regenerate or download the latest one. But of course, visiting every single day in our, vendor web pages, etc., it's not a good idea. So there is other option to do this. We have Openshift, Enterprise Kubernetes, and we have other tools to this. So there is a circle for application security. You need to follow sometimes the regulator standards, sometimes the industry standards, like you can find CIS, Center for Internet Security, like CIS Docker, CIS Kubernetes, etc., right? How you are compliant with this. Also, there are some standards, security standards for banking sector or for financial institution that process credit cards like PCI DSS. There is a NIST, also important institution. So this is the must. And if you are preparing your container, you need to remember to address early the security. We call it shift left, right? So start test your application, start thinking about security earlier before you will start your implementation. And of course, what is important? You need to control application security and you need to protect the platform. What is the platform? Worker nodes, masters, what kind of Linux you have. This is important, but also detect and respond to runtime threats. So what's happening with your container? If you are running third-party application, maybe someone is executing time to time some batch script in your container. It is risky. Or if you are running 3 weeks old container, it is suspicious. 3 weeks, no bugs, no errors, right? We have a rule for that. So please think about it. And Red Hat bought company called StackRox, and we have right now offering for security for Kubernetes. So shift left, we are addressing build, deployed, and run. We call it zero trust approach. Even if it's our container image, we do not trust. We are scanning it, we are observing it. So you can integrate it with some CI/CD tools. For example, if you will prepare container image, scan it first. Maybe you are using a very old base image, right? And scanner will detect vulnerabilities in your base image. Then you can integrate it with DevOps notifications like Slack channels and other, or with some security incident management systems. So first, if you will detect CVE, you will notify people, you will stop the pipeline, throw an error, etc. And of course, in fully automated way. We do support not only Openshift, all flavors of Kubernetes. Openshift is secure from day one, but if you are running vanilla Kubernetes, if you don't follow the rule, you may have a problem. So this is advanced cluster security. We bought the company, they had proprietary solution for that. From April the 1st, it's open source. Right? This is our rule, Red Hat rule, to deliver only open source product. It took time, almost a year to deliver it, but right now it's fully open source product. So this is important to know. So this is Openshift. This is Openshift. I will not go into detail because we are a little late, but part of the Openshift, we have cluster security. It is a declarative security, container vulnerability scanner and management, network detections. I will show you later. So shift left. Start to think about security as soon as possible. Then protect your infrastructure, secure it. Then workload. So you cannot trust even your application. You need to scan it, you need to monitor it, what's happening inside, who is executing processes, what are ports, protocols are used by applications. Typically, people are using flat network in Kubernetes, and it can be very harmful. So what the ACS has, what kind of options? Vulnerability management. We do not support only RHEL. We are downloading this CVE library from the other Linux vendors. So we are using the scoring system, CVSS also, and based on the scoring, we can detect and respond. So it means if the scoring is high, the detected CVE will be prioritized as a critical, right? React faster. Configuration management. You can detect some misconfiguration. If you're using Helm chart or other system, this tool can help you to find it. Risk profiling, right? So you will see the tools, it's context aware, and will show you, okay, right now maybe there is a CVE, but you are running your application as a cluster admin. I don't know which one is more harmful for you, right? So this is important because I remember when I installed this tool on a very old cluster, I saw hundreds of errors, right? If I will receive such a report, I will be lost. So the prioritization, detect and respond is very important to react in the proper way on the most critical security things. I don't want to say CVS or something. All are related to security. Compliance. This tool contains many standard-based security regulations. So you can read it as a document. You can read it as a document, maybe in the LibreOffice created. But you always see how to address this regulation, how to address this rule. So this is very nice because you can see the text, then you see this regulation was violated or is violated in this program, so it means in that namespace, on this cluster, and you will see everything, right? So this is very important. So PCI DSS, NIST for insurance, also CIS Docker, CIS Kubernetes. So you can see how compliant it's your cluster. Network segmentation. This is the awesome feature because people typically are using flat network inside Kubernetes cluster. It will show you in a graphical way networking. I will tell you later. So compliance overview. So you see some standards and how compliant your clusters is or are in a graphical way. So we see there are production cluster and some standards, right? CI is Docker, CI is Kubernetes, heap panis. Of course, you don't need to follow all regulation. You can use the best for you, but it will show you how to secure it as well. Also, sometimes it's possible to mitigate this problem because some problems cannot be applied directly from the web console. Maybe will require reinstallation. This is important as well. Standard controls. You see every single rule, it's here, right? So you can see what kind of rule was violated. Why? What did I wrong? Vulnerability management. So downloading these libraries from Linux vendors, from other vendors, also from programming languages, we are able to position properly vulnerability, to assign a proper risk, priority, and we will also advise, okay, there is a newer version, I don't know, is it visible? Because you see which vulnerability it is, and in which version this vulnerability was fixed. So you can download that version and apply it. Very important tool. Some policies, you see how many vulnerabilities your cluster, your projects contain. So not only Linux, this is, how many months it happened? Log4j vulnerability, right? So people were using Log4j for many years and they were not aware there is a CVE inside. This tool can detect it, right? And will present, okay, your projects, this project, this pod, this container is using Log4j. So very important and very easy to find. CVE snooze, because when you are flooded by numbers of accidents, rules violation, you will see some repetitive alerts. To avoid the problem, to avoid flooding, you can snooze for a while, right? Okay, I'm working on it, please do not show me this error, please do not notify me, because I will be flooded, I will don't know what to do. Violation overview, so you can react in which phase also, in build, deploy, or runtime where you violated. So this is an incident report. Configuration management. So it will show you some misconfiguration in your cluster, in your project. Some good recommendations. You can create your own policies. So it means you can, for example, copy and modify already existing policy, like for PCI DSS, so you can create higher rules than you have in the regulators. This is important because some people having different rules for different environment. Like for dev, it's okay, you can try everything, you can try, right? And on the production, rules are much stronger, much strict. So this is important to know how to modify and how to apply new ones. And you see you can enforce sometimes, or you can disable it. Risk assessment, right? So you can find the proper violation on a very risky thing, and it's listed on top. So it is very easy to use and really helps you a lot. Risk details, so you see which, this is CVSS, priority higher than 7. So this is the risk. Then you have an explanation. What is the problem? Like for example, airbag configuration. Maybe you are running your project as a cluster admin. Change it. Maybe you misconfigure service. Maybe you are using HTTP and should be HTTPS. So you can also connect it with GitOps, single source of truth. That whole configuration will be stored in Git, and then you can synchronize configuration. So this is also important. Network graph. That's people like it. Ops people like it. You see many connections because this is typical And you see this toggle box, it shows only active connections. Based on the real traffic, it will show you your pod on port 8080, it's calling pod in another project, on the same port on protocol HTTP. Then when you switch allowed, probably you will see spaghetti, right? Everyone can call everyone. Then based on the real traffic, it will suggest network policy. Okay, if you will apply this policy, you will have only connections between this port on 8080 HTTP. No other connections will be possible. Because if you are using flat network, if you will be able to hack one port, you can hack others. So this is important. And you see details about connection. So this port is calling that one on this port, and it will show you also alerts and network policies. So very nice visualization. Network policy generator. You can also do dry run, so you can pretend the policy is in place, and it will show you narrow traffic. Very, very useful tool for network. And as you see, network policy, it's yet another YAML, right? So this is not our proprietary technology. This is a Kubernetes network policy. So we are using standards, nothing is hidden. So I wish you to create this sophisticated Kubernetes to play with containers, not to break with Kubernetes. Do you have questions to that? There is a question.
I haven't been in industry for so long, but I still have a question as an ex-junior sysadmin. How should companies actually start with Kubernetes so they don't choke their system with it?
How should they start? As soon as possible? This is the first.
No. How should they really start? Is it really the best solution? You know, I mean, everything that looks shiny isn't always awesome.
Okay. First, Kubernetes helps you to be prepared for cloud-native applications. If you do not have this kind of application, this is not for you. Right? You can do lift and shift, so it means you can containerize application and deploy it. It sometimes works. My customer, big, let's say, betting company, they started with this approach. They were not prepared for cloud-native development. They said, because they didn't have a flat load, because it's betting company, right? The games are starting, etc. So people are betting or not. So they start, okay, this is our company. It wasn't a big monolith application, but they were able to containerize it and deploy it. And they saw many benefits of it. Scalability, failover, built in the platform. And later, after a few months, they started refactoring and to create microservices and cloud-native based applications. This is the future.
Thank you.
No more questions?
If no one has any more answers, then please give a big applause to our speaker.
Thank you.
Now it's time for a coffee break. The next session is in 15 minutes.